Yo, what's up guys, my name is Mint and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 non-meta loadouts in Warzone. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you're new to my channel, make sure you guys hit that sub button as I'm on the road to 200 subscribers. So it would mean a lot to me if you hit that sub button. I post Warzone content every single week. I post a lot of gameplays, I post a lot of how-tos and top 5 videos like these. So make sure you guys hit that sub button. Now let's get right into the video. So for number 5, we have the Krig 6 and the Bullfrog. With the agency suppressor recently being fixed, the Krig is actually pretty viable in Warzone. This thing feels a little like the Grau to me. It's pretty accurate in those far ranges, and it does some decent damage. This definitely fits in that SMG AR meta. The Krig is definitely one of those guns that people don't show a lot of love to just because of how messed up the Cold War guns were, or are I should say, but the Krig doesn't actually feel that bad. So here's the class setup for the Krig. So the Krig setup, we have the agency suppressor, the 19.7 inch Ranger, and we have the 3x scope. We also have the field agent grip and the 60 round fast mag. This thing is definitely fun to use in Warzone. Now we all know the Mag 10 has taken over Warzone as the meta SMG, and all you see are Mag 10s in Warzone. But you guys need to try the Bullfrog. This thing actually does some pretty heavy damage in Warzone. So for the Bullfrog, we have the GRU suppressor, the 7.4 inch task force barrel. We have the 5mm laser. We have the Spetsnaz grip and the 65 round speed mag. Now moving on to number 4, we have the AS Valve as a primary and the Pellington as a secondary. Now the AS Valve is listed as an assault rifle, but this is actually a pretty good SMG. This thing shreds up close. The only downfall to the AS Valve is the ammo capacity. You can only hold up to 30 rounds, which you do tend to run out a lot. So you have to make sure you hit every single shot, because if you don't, you're probably gonna die. So since the AS Valve is for close range, we have the Pellington for medium to long range as our secondary. And most people use the Kar 98 or the SPR in Warzone, but I don't see a lot of people using the Pellington. I know the Cold War snipers feel a little funky, especially with the bullet velocity all messed up, and I'm sure we all picked up that gray Pellington from the floor, and sometimes it feels like you're aiming right at their head, but you miss your shot anyways. But if you have this thing fully leveled up and you put the right attachments on it, this can actually compete with the Kar 98. Another thing that's broken about these Cold War snipers is that they don't have any glint if you put on the right scope. Here's the class setup for the AS Valve. We have the VLK 200 barrel, we have the 5mm laser, Commando foregrip, and a 30 round mag, and lastly the Stovall stock. And here's the attachments for the Pellington. We have the wrap suppressor for that bullet velocity, we have the 26.5 inch Tiger Team barrel, we have the bipod for that recoil control, we have the 7 round speed mag, and the optic that gives you no glint is the 4x optic. Now the 4x optic actually doesn't have the best reticle, so you might want to go and customize your reticle into the one you like. Now moving on to number 3, we have the Ram 7 and the HDR. We all know before the FFAR, the Ram was the sniper support. This thing shreds up close and medium range. It even shreds at long range, but the recoil is pretty hard to control, so you're better off using it close to medium range. All I see are FFARs in Warzone, and not a lot of many people are using the Ram 7, and this thing is a monster. It's definitely been overshadowed by the FFAR. Here's the class setup for it. We have the monolithic suppressor, we have the FSS Ranger barrel, we have the Ranger foregrip, 50 round mag, we have the stipple grip tape. Now since we're going to be using a sniper with it, I didn't put any optic on it, and the iron sight on this is pretty clean as well. We all know about the HDR. It's been the top sniper in Warzone since season 1. In the beginning, people were debating about the AX50 or the HDR, but the HDR ended up coming on top. It has one of the best bullet velocities in the game. This isn't meant for those quick scopes or jumping around and quick scoping people. This is for the people who take their time sniping, and it definitely packs a punch. This thing is a one shot from upper body. So for the class setup, we have the monolithic suppressor, we have the 26.9 HDR Pro, we have the TAC laser for that aim down sight time, we have the F-TAC Champion stock, and the 7 round mag. Now moving on to number 2, we got the Bruen and the Fennec. I know all of you remember the Bruen. This thing was a monster, and it still is a monster, but a tiny monster though. This thing still does some heavy damage in Warzone. It's probably the best LMG in Warzone right now. It doesn't have that much recoil, it's easy to control, the recoil pattern isn't that bad, and it does pretty good damage at range. What else could you ask for in a gun? And I don't even know why people stopped using this. Here is the class loadout for the Bruen. We have the monolithic suppressor, the XRK Summit 26.8-inch barrel. We have the VLK 3.0 optic. We have the Ranger foregrip 60 round mag. This thing is a beam, very underrated. Now for the secondary, we have the Fennec. Most of you probably forgot about this SMG, but this thing is amazing in Warzone. But this thing shreds up close. With the high fire rate, it can compete with the Mag 10. The only downfall with this SMG I see is the ammo again. With only having 40 rounds, you feel like you're running out of ammo so much. But otherwise, this is a pretty solid choice as a secondary. The hipfire isn't bad and the recoil is pretty good. Now here's my class setup. I have the 18-inch deadfall barrel on it, the 5mm laser, the Merc foregrip for that hipfire accuracy as well, and I put a no stock for that movement speed and the 40 round drum mag. The one thing that I would change about this setup is instead of the no stock, I would probably put the perk sleight of hand so you can reload faster, because I feel like I'm reloading all the time with this SMG. But other than that, it's actually very fun to use because this thing sounds so different than the Mag 10 and all the other SMGs. So definitely give this one a try. So at number 1, I have the Grau and the Fennec again. Now just like the Bruen, people just tossed away the Grau and started using the Kilo. Most people probably didn't even give it a second chance or test it out to see if it was actually good. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it definitely feels like you aren't doing enough damage at range, but the Grau is still a laser. This was the original beamer in Warzone. This was probably the first gun people started complaining to nerf. It was that good. It has no recoil, it's easy to control, and the iron sight on this thing is amazing. But since I'm using an SMG air combo, I put a VLK optic on it. I have a monolithic suppressor, Tempest Archangel barrel, the Ranger foregrip, and the 50 round mag. Give the Grau another shot, man. This thing is pretty viable in Warzone. And I've already talked about the Fennec. I feel like this is the most underrated SMG in Warzone. This is actually very good killing people close range, and I don't see a lot of people using this thing. But for this setup, instead of the no stock, I decided with the stipple grip tape just to try something different. And this setup can definitely compete with those meta setups, the AMX Mag 10, the FFAR Tundra. So those are the top 5 most underrated loadouts in my opinion in Warzone. Let me know what you guys think of the class setups and what you would change about them in the comments below, and let me know if I missed a gun that you think belongs on this list. That's all I have for you guys today, and make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit that sub button if you're new. I'll see you in the next video.